Hey there, everybody. Have you ever wondered why anyone would want to come and visit Indiana? My name's Fred, and I'm going to answer that question for you on this channel, Amazing Indiana. We're going to go all over the state of Indiana together. We're going to see all kinds of interesting things. We're going to go to our state parks. We're going to go to small towns. We're going to go to big cities. We're going to go to museums. We're going to go to restaurants. We're going to go all over the great state of Indiana so that you'll get a greater appreciation for the state. Maybe you're a Hoosier and you've lived here all of your life. I bet I'm going to take you to some places that you've never seen before. Maybe you're somebody who's getting ready to move to the state of Indiana and you're wondering, what are my family and I going to do once we get to Indiana? Or maybe you're somebody who's passing through our state. And I'm hoping that this video and others like it will encourage you to stop and stay for a while and see all of the rich things that we have to offer you here in Indiana. Today, we're going to be going to the city of Richmond, Indiana. It's east of Indianapolis, and we're going to be visiting two of my favorite museums. We're going to go to the Model T Ford Museum, and we're also going to go to the Grant County Historical Society Museum. Both fascinating places, and places that I think a lot of people don't ever check out. And we'll stop for lunch also at one of my favorite restaurants here in the state of Indiana, a Firehouse restaurant in the city of Richmond. And on the way out of town, we're going to stop at Thistlethwaite Falls, just so you get a look at one of the beautiful waterfalls that we have here in Indiana. And yes, by the way, we do have waterfalls in Indiana, and you're going to discover them and other things during these videos. So sit back and let's get to it. So here we are at the Model T Museum in Richmond, Indiana. And as I said, this museum is amazing. I've been here before. It's got a huge collection of Model T Fords, and we'll be checking that out. So here we are inside the museum, and as you can see, it's an absolutely stunning place. All kinds of Model Ts. Now, when we think of Model Ts, we sometimes think of just the small, and I'm going to walk over to it here, this small runabout car over here, or the Roadster rather. And but what you might not realize is that Ford produced all kinds of different Model Ts. And so you can see in this first hall here, and this is the main building, all kinds of Model Ts. It's just absolutely amazing. The museum actually has two buildings. It's got the main building that you've already seen, and then it's got this annex across the street, and that's where we're headed right now. As I said, I've been here before, so there are all kinds of cars displayed inside this annex also, and it's a little bit larger, I think, than the other building. Okay, so this is the second building, and you can see there's again just some really beautiful cars in here. You've got the got this 1926 Ford touring car and the Huckster wagon. What a great name for a vehicle. Absolutely magnificent old cars, and that's what a chassis would look like. Okay, so as you can see, we're across the street from the main part of the museum, though I think this is actually the main part of the museum. It's got a lot more vehicles over here than across the street, and it's got a good feel to it. It kind of feels like you're in an old garage. And so there's just, as you can see here, all kinds of Model T variations. I was never familiar that there were so many variations of Model Ts. I've been up to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan, and gotten to ride in a Model T. There's a guy in our neighborhood who has a Model T, and as I understand, there are a lot of them still running all over the United States, and Ford made so many parts for Model Ts that there's, from what I understand from a couple of Model T owners, there's no problem with getting parts for those cars. And I understand that you can get a pretty basic Model T for a reasonable price. Somebody quoted a price to me of like $30,000. Not sure that's entirely reasonable, but reasonable enough. And my wife told me that I can't have one. I don't know what I would do with it. And apparently you have to take a special class on how to drive Model Ts. But this, again, is just an amazing place. I'll step away a little bit so that you can see what I'm seeing. Well worth the trip here to Richmond, Indiana to check this out. I am not a huge car guy, but I do love going to car museums. Sometimes I'm just impressed by the craftsmanship. So check it out. Great place to visit, and they're open again. COVID virus is receding, we hope, into the rear view mirror. That's a car term. So after visiting the Model T Museum, we're headed right across the street to this barbecue restaurant. It's called Barbecue for the People, and it is in Richmond, Indiana's first firehouse. Excuse that motorcycle going past. Great place. I've been in it before, and really good food. So here we are inside the firehouse. It's got a great vibe here. Good place to eat when you're in Richmond, Indiana, especially if you've just been across the street at the Model T Ford Museum. Fascinating place, wasn't it? I really like this restaurant. I came here about 4 years ago, and I was thrilled to see that it's still here, and it wasn't a casualty of COVID-19. And I'm looking forward to a really great lunch, and then we're going to go around and see some other things that Richmond has to offer. And I'm getting the Firehouse salad today. Looks pretty good. You have to love a salad that's got baby back boneless ribs on it. So one of the really great things about Indiana is that it seems just like every county in our state has its own historical museum or society or center. And here I am in front of the Wayne County Historical Museum in Richmond, Indiana. Looks like it's a pretty neat place from the outside. Let's go inside and check. And here you see it. We're in Wayne County, Indiana. Let's check it out. Hey, this is a pretty neat museum, everybody. This is the Wayne County Historical Museum, and I can see that this is not something that you just stop in for a little bit. You've got to spend some time here. look at this really neat Conestoga wagon over here. A lot of people don't realize that Indiana was a crossroads for people going out west, and a lot of people, of course, came here and stayed. So fascinating place already, I can tell. Just want to share some of the first impressions of the museum with you, and I'll be taking pictures and putting those in with this video also. But really cool place. I need to get myself one of these to ride around on railroad tracks. You got a basket up there you can put your picnic lunch on. That would be great. So beautiful museum, a lot of interesting stuff, and we'll explore it. Now, what you're seeing here is not two mummies laying side by side, but what you're seeing actually is the outer mummy case that's at the top of the picture, and then the mummy itself, which is not unwrapped, but you can see the, I think these were called death masks that were placed over the top of the mummy. And we'll move down here, and they have done all kinds of analysis on this particular mummy, and the sign says that they think this guy died around 900 BC, and body did not receive all of the embalming process that he needed to, but it's still nevertheless impressive to think that here in Richmond, Indiana, we've got an Egyptian mummy. And this room, and I'll pan up here. Whoops. The room is filled with all kinds of interesting Egyptian artifacts, and you know, you normally have to go to Chicago to see this kind of stuff, but here it is in Richmond, Indiana. Who would have thought? And lots of little Egyptian statues here. Lots and lots of interesting stuff. And really, gosh, I'm already awfully impressed with this particular museum. It is a great place, and it's a place worthy of checking out, and I hope you will. And the museum also has a fairly nice little collection of antique cars here. Pretty cool. Okay, so this is the exterior of the county museum. Lots of neat stuff out here too to see. And in particular, I'm moving towards this steam tractor that is prominently displayed out on the lawn here of the museum, and we'll take a look at that and then come back and at least look at a couple of the other buildings out here. I'm really impressed with this place, and I travel around Indiana, going to a lot of various historical societies and historical museums, and I would say that this is my now favorite local historical museum. So come and check it out by all means. And again, here's this beautiful, beautiful steam tractor, and we'll move back around this way. And the log building in front of us is, I think, one of the old schoolhouses. And you know, great thing about a lot of these local historical museums are that people do in various communities take a whole lot of pride in their community, and also in preserving what made their community special. And you can see that the people of Wayne County have certainly done that. And here is Wayne Township School number 1. Let's just take a quick look inside here. Yeah, this is the real deal, guys. And here is somebody named Ann Hawkins. Not too sure about her, but take a look at this place. Man, if you thought your school was difficult, you need to come here and check this out. Just no desks, just benches to sit on. Pretty neat. Okay, and they have 2 recreation buildings out here: the printing office, and also Richmond baking. Let's just take a quick gander in there. Let's go to the print office first. Again, these places are just fascinating to me because we get to see how people lived in the past. And here's the old printing press equipment. And the building is connected to the bakery. And let's go into the bakery. Guaranteed that all of this stuff is, well, how would we say it? Pretty stale. Anyhow, Richmond Baking Company. There's a sign over here. Let's see if you can see it. It says that the nation's oldest family-owned cookie and cracker company. Isn't that something? You know, everybody's got a claim to fame. And unfortunately, because of COVID, the stable building is not open right now, but there's still a fair amount to see out here. As you probably saw, or when I first came into the museum, you do have to wear a mask here still, and that's okay. People do need to be safe. This is the Solomon Dickman log cabin. This was apparently built in 1823, and it was moved to the museum grounds. Take a look inside, see what we see. It was moved here to the museum, and again, they've got it really nicely restored, so you can kind of get a sense of how people lived back in earlier times. And just kind of moving around here. There we are. In the category of things I did not know, the first dial-direct car phone was developed here in Richmond, Indiana, by a fellow by the name of Ramsey McDonald. And look, you can see it right there. So, man, big old transmitter down there. And also, look at how you had to actually dial the phone. You know, I don't think the police would like that very much. Here in Indiana, we have now a hands-free law. So Jason, can you tell me something about the museum?
So the museum was formerly a Quaker meeting hall in the 1850s. I've actually got some pictures up front if you'd like to see.
Okay, we'll take a look at those in a minute.
So this building was originally a Quaker meeting hall, and that white wall there was actually the outside of the building.
Ah, okay.
So we are standing in an addition that was made later on in the 1960s.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1929, the museum was bought by our founder. She looks like that, Julia Meek Gar.
The lady up on the
camel.
Up on the camel. I rode one of those in Israel. They're no fun.
So she wanted a place to educate specifically children and adults too.
Sure.
But she wanted a place where children of Richmond and Wayne County and anybody passing by could come experience the world without having to leave Richmond.
Right?
So all of these artifacts in this room are things that she brought back.
So this is her own personal collection here.
That is correct, yes.
Cool.
So this is, we call it Julia's room.
Right.
So anyway, in 1929, she founded the museum and put her artifacts on display for the children.
Yeah, good for her. Cool. So how did you guys end up with a mummy? Did she pick that up when she was in Egypt?
Yes, she did.
She did. Goodness.
Actually from a gift shop.
At a gift shop.
Yes,
wow.
yeah,
Goodness.
She was just leaning in the corner of a gift shop.
Holy crow.
and she
Really?
bought it. Yes. Yep.
Do you know how much did she sell? How much was a mummy going for in those days?
I don't know. But I know somewhere buried in the archives we actually have the original receipt.
Isn't that fascinating? And you said when I came in that this is one of two mummies
in the
state of Indiana. Some of the other ones where? In Indianapolis or something?
Right down the road at the Joseph Moore Museum.
Is it really? Okay. Wow. Goodness. Another place to go check out.
That's right. Yes.
Fascinating. So you have a lot of, and what I really like about your museum is a lot of things that relate to Wayne County and Richmond. So that's really cool. Can you tell me a little bit about the pilot car down there?
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. In fact, we can take a walk back down that way. Because one of the things that a lot of people don't know is that Indiana had a lot of car companies, did it not? A lot of people building cars here in Indiana.
That's right. So, are you talking about the yellow one?
Yeah, the yellow one, I guess.
So, yeah, the pilot, 1922. Of course, the newspaper clipping down there was a flyer, a hot air balloon man, who suspended this very car.
Goodness.
From his hot air balloon, just as one of those publicity stuff.
Right.
So it was found in kind of a bad state, like that, just kind of rusted.
Yeah.
And we restored it back to its original condition. And we are very proud of this car. It's probably one of the nicest cars here. And here's a little something interesting about it.
Okay, cool.
See that seat there on the side?
Oh yeah, the side seat, yeah.
That's right.
It's not quite a rumple seat, but it's...
Well, those were also called in-law seats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you put your mother-in-law out there.
That's right, yes.
I like my mother-in-law. I don't think I'd do that to her, but that's interesting. So pilot cars were made here in Richmond?
Yes. Yep.
And for how long did that go on?
Oh goodness, I'm not entirely sure about that.
But it is like one of those local car companies.
Yes.
That.
Yep. Local cars.
Yeah. So I know they say this about the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., that it's the nation's attic. And looking around this museum, it's kind of Wayne County's attic also, isn't it? All kinds of interesting stuff. Tell me a little bit about the altar that's back here.
The altar, hand-carved, hand-painted, handmade.
Wow.
And it is originally from St. John's Lutheran Church, which is on, I want to say, E Street.
Right.
And the church, Richmond has a thing with old churches, and they always wind up closing.
That's unfortunate.
But we were able to get their altar. They wanted us to have the altar because, well, you know, it's history.
Of course.
It's Richmond.
Right.
And we're here to preserve the legacy of Richmond.
Right.
So that is where our altar came from. It is, you know, all original, of course. Had to be shipped here in 3 pieces. And now they've converted the building here. I'll show you. That's what the building looks like. And now it is Life Spring Church. So they renovated it, and it is now church again.
Oh, good. Very good. Good. Well, these are Thistlethwaite Falls. It's the series of falls is just north of Richmond. I finished up with some of the museums in Richmond and went north on my way back home and thought I would take a look at these. There's not much hiking around here, but the falls are pretty nevertheless. And if you're in this area, certainly worth checking out. I think I'm going to want to come back here during the winter when I hope some ice will form up. It would be very, very impressive to see. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that trip to Richmond, Indiana. We saw the Ford Model T Museum. We also went to that really cool barbecue place in the Firehouse, and we saw the Wayne County Museum. A great place, awesome. And we finished up our day at Thistlethwaite Falls, north of Richmond. So, hope you enjoyed the program today. Hope you enjoy the channel. If you like these kind of videos, please subscribe and also like this particular video. And I'll be back with you again for another adventure in amazing Indiana.